YouTube, what's going on? My name is Corporate Surf, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about mouse grip. So, I want something random here, right? I want to be able to prove to you with any shape of mouse, I can help you. So we're going to go to Goodwill, pick out something random, and we'll come back and see how we do. Alright, so we're back from Goodwill, and we chose this right here. Brick house of a mouse, $3. Looks like it was from Walmart. Somebody opened it up. Alright, behold. The Walmart mouse from Goodwill. This thing is super awkwardly shaped, which is perfect. So if I can have good grip on this mouse, then you guys can have a good grip on your gaming mouse. Also, just for the fun of it, since I was at Goodwill, you know, they say a fool and his money soon shall they part. Well, Assassin's Creed 2 for PS3, complete black label, $3. Very exciting. Then, The Legend of Korra, if you guys have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, these were all 4 books. I think that's the whole series, but like number 3 and 4, they're like factory sealed. Very, very cool. And then somebody said that Weeds, the TV show, is like one of the best TV shows ever, so pick that up. Anyway, back to the mouse coverage. Alright, so we're going to be talking about grip and posture and a lot of things relative to precise tracking. That's what I'm best at. I'm Celestial for Voltaic for this most recent season. Okay, so talking about grip and posture, let's lead with posture. So the first thing that's really important for this is that you have a chair height or desk height that's optimal for you. Most importantly, I think working with tension in your shoulder in mind for this precise tracking is really important. You think of like Sapatic, who's one of the best precise tracking players ever. Shoulder tension is really important. And so the way that we're going to set this up here is we don't want to like chicken wing this, right? But we want to make sure that your forearm is not touching the desk, and neither is your elbow. So your elbow is not touching like the desk or your chair. And so what that provides for you is the ability for your shoulder to make these long strafes, right? You'll feel tension in the long strafes with your shoulder. Okay, so we talked a little bit about how you should be sitting, you know, your posture for this. But for the most part, it's about what you're most comfortable with. So I can't tell you how to grip your mouse exactly. I can't tell you exactly how to sit. These are just some general things to think about while you're aiming. So with your grip for this precise tracking, there's 2 forces that I want you to think about that we're going to be applying to the mouse. The first is called lateral pressure. This is like the squeeze between your pinky and your thumb. So literally this right here, how we're squeezing. But then also downward pressure. So this is mostly like your index finger pushing down, or even how like the base of your palm here can kind of push down a little bit. The downward force into the pad we're going to call more like control, and then this lateral pressure I want you to think of as stability. Okay, so with those forces in mind, I'm going to tell you what my grip is, even on something as awkwardly shaped as this Goodwill mouse. So the first thing that I like to think of is my thumb. So my thumb, I want a good curl to it, pretty natural. Then kind of stability here. My pinky, I also want a decent curl to this. Now that leaves my 3 middle fingers for kind of that downward control that I was talking about. So my middle finger, I think, is the most important in this process. I really have a preference to the mouse wheel, so either above, on, or below the mouse wheel. I think placing my middle finger here, and camera lady, if you can kind of zoom here. I like to have a lot of like stability from my middle finger here, and you can see that kind of brings my ring finger off the side, right? Because if my middle finger is over here, then maybe my ring finger can sit on the side as well. But with my middle finger on the mouse wheel itself, I have my pinky kind of isolated to provide that force. Okay, so with that middle finger providing some stabilizing here, in regular games, that means that this ring finger can kind of hold to ADS and provide a little bit of downward tension as needed, just while we're ADS firing. But then here, with the stability from my middle finger, I can either, you know, have a delicate push from my index finger, or really give some extra downward force for extra control when it's needed. And so when we're thinking about precise tracking, you can think of like the top of the arc on like a bounce tracking scenario, so like PGT, something like that, really being able to push down into the pad a little bit more for extra control, or even like snake track when it hits the edge of the boundaries, being able to push down and give extra force for that direction change. That's a lot of extra control that we can kind of dynamically add by having good downward force habits. So with our voltaic precise tracking examples, we just talked about where that downward force can be applied, on those direction changes. But what about this lateral pressure? How should we think of that? So with the lateral pressure, snake track, for example, you can think of those long strafes, especially where it's like strafing to the back of the map. Right there is where we need a lot of smoothness. We need a lot of good speed matching. And so your aim is going to feel most snappy and stable when you have a good squeeze from your pinky and your thumb there. So sometimes I even feel like I am gonna lift my mouse because I'm squeezing so much, and there's really not much downward pressure there. The other example then would be with PGT. You can think of like bot 1, how it bounces, has this really long strafe, and then it goes into the arc. With that long strafe, it's really important to feel like your arm and your shoulder helping you match the speed of the bot, but then really having a good squeeze for that stable speed matching. So that's the example there for PGT then. Okay, so we talked about posture, we talked about grip, we talked about tension. Let's very briefly at the end of this video talk a little bit about form isolation. So like we said, the shoulder being involved, having some tension, even a little bit of our elbow on our forearm here. This whole process of your arm is really helpful for the long strafes and for the speed matching. Your wrist throughout this process can help with your speed matching. You can kind of dynamically adjust with your wrist a little bit, but also like these direction changes that we're talking about, you can feel the flex of your wrist. Like the arc on PGT, you can feel your wrist flex to help that. And then the last thing is your fingertips. Your fingertips can work, up and down like this, but then they can also wiggle side to side. Shout out Coach Ben. That I got that point from him, so credit to Coach Ben. But your fingertips can really help with these micro adjustments. They have these fine control that's really important for you guys to be able to put into practice. So all these things, they come together, but the foundations with your grip and with your tension makes everything easier. So with all this rambling, I hope you guys found this helpful. With this mouse in particular, I'm gonna play on my regular setup. I'm gonna take these nasty little skates off, replace them with my Jade Airs, and see if it works on my glass pad. If not, maybe I'll try it on my Raiden. And we're gonna play Snake Track with this mouse and see how we can do. Okay, so here I am on KovaaK's with the mouse as I promised. I changed out the skates to have these Jade Air skates. What I want to do here really quick is to test the DPI on this. I think it's 800 DPI, but we're just gonna do a little check. Okay, so for whatever reason, it looks like this is 900 DPI. That's kind of strange to me, but we will run our Snake Track here. And when I play Snake Track, I want to do so at like 55-ish, 55 CM360. But let's see if we can get a master score on Snake Track. And so I'm going to try and implement the good tension habits, kind of like we talked about. And let's see how I do on this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is unplayable on glass. I'm gonna finish this run. But like genuinely, it's like, I think the liftoff distance is creating problems with the glass pad. Wow. This is horrifying. So we will have to try cloth next because something's wrong here. That was ridiculous. I don't even think we got close to master. You can see I'm the #1 scorer here, but not with this Dell on glass. Goodness. And that's not even Dell brand, is it? I think it's Walmart ONN. We're going to try a couple different cloth pads. This one's the Artisan Zero Soft. And we're going to see if it makes any difference with this mouse on cloth. See if we can improve our score a little bit. Oh yeah, this feels a little bit better already. But let's give it a run. Okay, I can immediately tell this is awful as well. It's like the bot is like tearing on my screen. I'm visually watching it tear. When the motion is not quick, it's no problem at all. But I do feel like I have more control here on this cloth pad. Okay, slight improvement in the score there, 33-15. Still don't know if we're at platinum yet. Let me check what the scores are. Oh no, this was a diamond score. Okay, let's see maybe if we can get a jade score on my Raiden. I'm gonna go grab my Raiden. Okay, this Raiden is really old and dirty. It's a Raiden mid, which means it's a little bit harder of a texture than like my Zero Soft. Sorry for how gross this looks, but let's see. The feel of this already feels like the best of the three, although who knows? Let's give this a try. Okay, I'm still getting like the screen tearing, pulling rate, glitchiness, but the actual texture here is kind of nice. Wow, the worst of the three, and it's not even really close. Um, yeah, I think this pad is just dead. Like, I've had it for a really long time. I've had it for more than a year. No, I've had it for like a year and a half actually. But okay, the best score that we got was a diamond score with our little 3 plays here. Um, actually, you know what's fun? Give me 1 second. I have a tiny Raiden that's not dead. This is a Raiden mid, but it's like medium size, I think. Um, I don't remember why I bought this, but maybe I think I bought it by accident actually. But let's see how I do on this one that's not like a dead pad, and it's also like really tiny. Okay, at least that was a little bit better. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video here. If like on a live stream or something, you'd want to see me go for like diamond complete or something with this mouse, maybe that could be fun. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.